Can you release AI generated music or AI music on Spotify? As most of my subscribers know, I get right to the point in all my videos, and typically I give you a short answer and then a long answer. Short answer, this is very vague, and there's a lot of tricky elements that come into play with this. So let's get into the nitty gritty. First off, do you even have the commercial rights to that AI generated song? For example, I'm on Suno's FAQ. You can see right here, can I upload my songs to Spotify, Apple Music, etc.? Yes, but only if you are a paying subscriber to Pro and Premiere. Meaning, if you create those songs for free on Suno, for example, and you don't have a paying account, you do not have those commercial rights, and you cannot release those songs on Spotify in addition to other platforms. In addition, going down here, does subscribing to one of the paid subscription plans grant me retroactive commercial rights? Meaning, if I have a free account, I make AI music, then I start paying, does it retroactively work? As you can see, no. Going down here though again, and the nitty gritty sometimes is important. To right here, if I cancel my subscription, do I lose the rights to the songs? No. Meaning, any song that you create when you're paying for Suno AI music, when you're creating AI music via Suno, if you have a paid account through the Pro or Premiere subscription, you do have the rights to your songs in perpetuity, right? Meaning you can release your songs on Spotify. But even though you have the commercial rights, can you actually release it on Spotify? Now, here's the things that even more tricky. Going down here, there's only been a couple things Spotify has actually mentioned about AI music, which is something I'm going to touch upon a bit later in this video. And the big thing is this. Yes, Spotify does allow AI tools, as they call them. So, for example, tools like Auto-Tune and Studio Sound that help improve music and sound quality. Okay, so they're basically saying if you're a producer, you're working with other musicians, you use an AI tool. So not necessarily AI-generated music, but you're using an AI tool that is allowed. In addition, on the other end, music that impersonates artists is not acceptable. So if I use AI tools to, let's say, create, and we've probably seen these online, I have a video list below in the description to all my AI music videos on this channel where I talk about AI music. A bunch of them are Cartman covers. So I cannot, for example, use AI tools to make a cover of a song by Drake, or I can't use a tool to make it sound like Drake where I'm impersonating Drake. That is illegal, and it's not allowed on Spotify, right? As you can see right here, there is kind of a tricky thing where there's an imaginary line that exists between deepfakes and a creative approach to artistry, right? So you cannot use AI tools to just create something by Drake or Lady Gaga and release it, let's say, as your own, saying, oh, check out this kind of Drake-ish song, right? Not allowed. So you would be asking, like, okay, but that doesn't really answer the question, right? Going to this page, and this is where things get even more tricky, going deeper down the rabbit hole, and don't worry, I will recap all this in a second. AI-generated songs rack up thousands of listens on Spotify, right? Especially with Suno and Udio. I've done videos about them. It's getting way more popular. Going down here, you can see right here, this is one example. Spotify is now actively, and this is true, actively recommending AI music made by AI models that may be trained on copyrighted music without permission. So this is an artist, they said, for example, that basically is just AI-generated songs, and not only are they getting a bunch of streams and money from those streams, which, let's be honest, isn't that much. I mean, we all know streams don't pay that much, but even still, they're getting money from the streams, and I think a bigger thing is those streams, because of this recommendation algorithm that just is doing the algorithm the way it does, is taking those streams away from actual artists. I might even say human artists. So, with that being said, can you release AI-generated music on Spotify? Starting off with what we do know. One, you do need the commercial rights to that AI-generated music and that AI music. Like I said, if you don't have a, paying membership on Suno, for example, you don't have the commercial rights. So Spotify is out of the question, or any other platform, right? Because you don't have commercial rights. If you're paying though for Suno, and you actually do create AI-generated music, okay, well then what? Two, you cannot use anything to impersonate another artist. So you can't, let's say, release a song sounding exactly like Drake, or Eminem, or Lady Gaga, whatever it is. Now though, let's go to the main elephant in the room. Probably the big question, like I said, that you're wondering, okay, but there is AI music on Spotify. Can you release it? Here's where things get tricky. My Tough to say. My answer is basically kind of. Now, here's why I think Spotify has not given a statement about AI music. It is a very tricky landscape because on one end, how do you know if it's AI generated or not? Right it's kind of the wild, wild west right now. I've heard some AI songs that sounded very, very human. That sounded exactly like a human. And as AI tools get even better and better, it's going to be even more realistic. On the other end, I've heard some human-made songs, if I call it that sound more like AI, right? So it's tough to say, like, what if Spotify takes down a song saying, hey, this is AI music, but it actually is a human, right? It is a very, very tricky landscape. And I think the reason why Spotify hasn't really made a statement about this is because it's like, well, if they say, no, we're banning AI music, no more AI music is allowed on our platform, you could not use an AI music generator, create a song, and release it on Spotify, well, how can they exactly police that? Truthfully, in this day and age, unless there's some protocol is put into place, it is a bit unrealistic. And I don't want to use the word impossible, but it is getting trickier and trickier by the day. And I think what's tough about this is I don't think Spotify wants to say, no, you can't do it. But also, Spotify doesn't want to say, yes, you can. And this is what I'm saying on this video, which is very hesitant for me to say, as you can imagine. There's a multifaceted issue when it comes to this question. My answer is kind of. And by kind of, I mean, I think if you paid for the membership for Suno, made songs, you're not impersonating another artist, you then take those songs, sign up with a platform like DistroKid, and release those songs, and they go on Spotify, are you going to be okay? My answer is 99.9% yes. Now, who knows? There could be a chance maybe you get caught using these tools or Spotify can tell it's AI music. It is tough to say, but I think the tricky thing is right now, at least, there's really not a lot we can do. And this does bring up a very scary thing called the AI content singularity. I might even call it the AI music content singularity, more specific to this video, and that is this. There's a theory when it comes to AI content that if, like, say, I'm scrolling through, I'm trying to think of like a good example of this. Let's say I'm scrolling through Twitter, right? And the AI content singularity theory is this. Because of so many bots, because AI can make stuff in seconds, how do you know, like say years in the future, if you're seeing a human or not? It's kind of like the Turing test. We don't know. And the issue is that because AI can make stuff so much faster than humans, it makes sense that 90 or 99% of the content you're going to see is probably going to be AI. Which means when you go on Twitter, 99% of those tweets, unless you're following somebody that you know, like say it's random people, right? Like say you're searching something on Twitter, or like say you're just scrolling through Pinterest or whatever, right? You're on a content platform, 99% of that content is probably going to be AI. And you're going to almost feel like you're alone in this odd Black Mirror style universe of being like, wait, so most of the people I'm going to interact with, almost all of them, are not going to be humans. They're going to be AI. Likewise, bringing that now relevant to this situation, I think the scary thing that's already happening on Spotify, because it's so easy to make AI music, it takes seconds to make an album. Because it takes a couple other seconds, if I call it that, to then release it, there is more AI music being released, like say on Spotify, but pretty much every other platform. But talking about Spotify for this video, there's so much music being released on Spotify where there's now maybe, and I'm making this up, I don't know the numbers. It is tough to say. I don't think anyone knows, at least not yet. And maybe we will never know. But there's now probably, for every, I'm making this up, 100 human songs released every day on Spotify, there may be 5,000 AI music generated songs being released on Spotify. Meaning, unless you're following an artist specifically, like say you just do the recommended section of Spotify, or let's say Spotify is just playing you random songs via the radio, whatever, there's a good chance that in maybe a couple years' time, 99% of the songs that will pop up when it's just showing you random songs, based off the randomness of it, based off statistics, are going to be AI music and AI-generated music. And again, this is where things get very, very Black Mirror-ish. That's why when it comes to this question, can you release AI music or AI-generated music on Spotify? It's not an easy, clear-cut yes or no. If I had to lean towards one side, I'd say yes, honestly. Spotify might not like it, and I don't know if they do or don't. That is definitely a different subject for a different video. But I think for Spotify, they're like, hey, we can't release it. It's tough to say. Who knows if it's actually AI or not? And it is tough to say with how good it is now. Before, it was kind of pretty clear. especially if you look at, like, say, AI generated video. It's very tough, very tough for it to even seem remotely human. It was kind of funny. It was a meme. It was a joke, like the classic one of Will Smith eating spaghetti. Now, though, AI generated video, which I don't think has been released yet by OpenAI, which is probably a good thing because it's so scarily accurate. I think they're rolling that back. We'll see if it gets released. But anyway, now it's very tough to distinguish. Same thing with AI music. And I think the issue with Spotify that we're seeing right now, and I've seen more and more articles about this, I touched upon this in this video, is because it's so quick to release AI music, like I said, there's now an exponentially more amount of AI music being released on Spotify compared to human-made music. And because it's so hard to distinguish, especially to a normal listener, even to me as a producer, I've been playing music all my life, whether it's classical piano, jazz saxophone, I've been producing for over a decade, all this kind of stuff. It is tough for me to even tell as well, because it's getting that good. It's getting crazily good. And with all these songs being released, it could be very possible that, finding a human-made song when it comes to scrolling through Spotify is almost like finding a needle in a haystack. And unless you're targeting a human directly, as far as we know, how do we know if this one artist is AI and this one artist is human? It's tough to say. What is the solution for this? That I don't know. But at the end of the day, kind of going back to the main point of this video, giving you kind of all the different, angles of this question, because there is a lot. This is a very multifaceted issue, like I said. At the end of the day, it seems like you can release AI music on Spotify. It seems like a lot of people are. They're not having issues with it. And as far as I know, and as far as I've seen, doing all this research and looking at all this data, most of the music, a lot of the music, maybe 70 or 80%, 90%, I don't know. But most of the music right now being released and being posted on Spotify is made using AI music generators.